Thank you. And I can say only hi because it is good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and good night. Now, I think it's a very wonderful, organization which has tried to bring the homeopathic lovers together. Thank you, Dr. Shaji Kudiak, for your effort making the international forum for promotion of homeopathy. I am sure the people around the world would like to know more about homeopathy and its contribution to the mankind and trying to serve, the different conditions, the ailments through a very simple but very effective system of medical science that is homeopathy. So the topic which I am going to deal with today is management of neoplasms in homeopathy. I know the crowd or the participants may be of different strata. We do teach in medical institutions. So the treatment of neoplasms in homeopathy, which is gaining more and more popularity and also the need, because today the knowledge regarding the neoplasms, the classification, their diagnosis, their staging, everything is available. And to some extent, the trials, what they are introducing to treat the patients are also at a level of arbitration. It appears that every year, every moment, they are modifying their line of management. And what we have seen over the past few years, it is the strategies which they try to follow with the level of chemotherapies, radiotherapy, or surgical corrections, whatever has been the trend, which is accepted because the public is not much aware of the role of the alternative system of medicines where we can also do something better. So an effort is made to deliver some informations regarding the homeopathy system of medicine, where our master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, has given the guidelines how to manage these type of cases. So an effort from my side is also through the literatures and also through the clinical side, trying to combine with the modern medicine concepts and how best we can help, at what stage we can help, and how we can manage the cases of neoplasms. So I just would like to start with my presentation. So as we all know, and for the people who would like to understand homeopathic system of medicine, it is a holistic system where we approach a case in totality based on the dictum similia similibus curantur. The importance is given to the totality of symptoms. Now, the totality of symptoms consists of the mind symptoms, the physical symptoms, and the characteristic particulars. So, the mind constitutes of emotional, intellectual, where we consider the family, work, and the social area, and also the environmental reactive pattern. For anybody who wants to take up homeopathic treatment, first, I always make a point that trying to treat a patient is based on individual characteristics along with the totality where we require all these informations. Now, this is something which many a time I have found in the last 35 years in the field of homeopathy. I felt people are now accepting the importance of all these components. the mind, the role of mind in the origin and the progress of a disease to the extent of neoplasms. And also the physical symptoms which are easily available, as we know, because of the observations, the signs which are available, and it is easily explainable. And also diagnostic symptoms, as far as malignancies, the neoplasms are concerned, absolutely, to the point, everything is available now with all the biochemical, the radiographic, the MRIs, the biopsies, then the PET scans, everything gives an exact idea of the diagnosis of a malignancy or the neoplasm. But what next is what we look out for, the characteristic symptoms, either with intensity or the occurrence of the symptoms which are available now. Now, these are the points where we need to make the patient understand, or the bystanders understand, the importance of these symptoms, by means of which we can arrive at a homeopathic remedy which may be of use to the patient. Why I am giving this, the first slide is, this is the whole crux of the homeopathic practice. Until otherwise we reach this particular point, probably whatever we try to help the patients may not be obvious, because the diagnosis will give us only the idea regarding the prognosis, and then how to arrive at some conclusions regarding the condition of the disease. But when you look at the case for a longer period, how it has to be observed, all these symptoms are very important. Why I'm making this point is because we have seen the factors which are responsible for the neoplasm. We call it as the predisposing factors, what the medical world speaks about, related to some of the risk factors. Now, we have seen good number of patients who are perfectly all right in their family life. They have taken care of everybody, specifically the females, the women folk who have taken care of the family. They don't have any risk factors which they come across in the the disease progress or disease origin, but still they suffer with the malignancies. The reasons which are unknown, as we go further, we'll come to know why people suffer, or people have got this problem. So next slide which I am going to present is on a homeopathic concept. So it is classified under the category of chronic diseases. And you know that the chronic disease is a natural disease. We are not talking about anything which is artificial. The chronic disease, it is a derangement of the vital force. Again, the theory of vital force, where you find the vital force which tries to keep all the parts of the organism in the harmonious vital operation. So the disease which starts with insidious onset and gradual progress during which the vital force disease, if not treated adequately, it eventually ends with the death of the patient. That is what the definition of chronic disease goes. And definitely the cause which we attribute is psora psychosis syphilis. So any type of a disease which is chronic, in specific even to malignancies, the cause is related to miasms. The psora psychosis syphilis. Later on, we have got the miasms tubercular also, are a complex miasms where there are psora psychosis, psychosyphilis, or tubercular group of miasms. The changes occur first at the general level. Now, probably this is not identified by the public in general, that the changes are occurring at the general level, which is ignored. The individual susceptibility will predispose the individual to disease proper in general, while the weakness or sensitivity to a particular part, viscous system, will lead to localization of the disease in particular. Now, what I am trying to say is that the general symptoms or general suffering which gets localized is depending on susceptibility of an organ. Why? somebody gets into a liver neoplasm or liver cancer, or gets into a GI cancer, gets into a the cancers which are related to any part of the organ, depends on susceptibility of the organ. Otherwise, there is no other explanation why somebody, even if he doesn't have an alcohol or type of risk factor, gets into the liver pathology. We have come across good number of individuals who are suffering with the hepatocellular carcinomas, but they don't have any history of so-called risk factors. So it means to say that whatever our master tries to guide us regarding the disease progress is the suffering which was in general has gone into a specific organ, and then how it gets progressed and then lands up in the terminal condition. So the changes proceed from the functional to the structural level. They say that the changes proceed from the functional to structural level. Now, probably that is what we identify in the modern medicine related to the staging and further going in for the different, the levels of conditions what we come across in the malignancies. So the changes occur at the level of the functions, then it goes to a structural change. So one of the concepts which are found in the malignancy conditions is there are some categories, the three categories where we find how these patients can be identified. The only 1 or 2 layers of disease predisposition means if a person is going to have a neoplasm or who is having a neoplasm, we can categorize them, because by listening to their symptoms and looking at the symptoms and their history, we come to know that the type of a case in front of, which is certainly very difficult for the other school to understand, which I'm trying to put. This is the category. The defense mechanism was strong until the onset of the disease. We have seen some people who are fantastic. Till yesterday, they were fine. But suddenly they succumb. And we have seen some of the individuals, within few months, they disappear. They come, the life comes to an end. But they were perfectly all right. So, if they were identified at the earliest, these diseases are all curable because the mechanisms are strong until the onset of the disease. So, if we get that case at the earliest, such cases will have the parents in relative good health. If you go by the history, they may not have or they don't have a family history of any chronic disease of a terminal, the type. So these patients usually found to have lived relatively healthy and emotionally balanced lives. So this is one type under which we can consider the patients with the malignancy. The second type whom we consider are more than 2 layers of the miasmatic predisposition. These patients represent considerably greater difficulty. Patients' hereditary history shows many chronic diseases. The family history, what speaks about a good number of chronic diseases, long history of allopathic treatment with powerful drugs. The patient as well as their family might have taken a lot of therapies which are sometimes immunosuppressive, or it may be some of the strong medicines which probably might have had shaken their susceptibility and might have created the alteration in the state of health. Patient's life has always been full of anxieties, fear, and nervousness. So this is one of the areas which now the people are considering. The modern medicine also is trying to understand this part of it. The anxieties, fear, and nervousness, constant stress also may be or is the cause for this type of a condition. So this is one concept or the condition or the thought process we can have is the second type of the condition where they are in trouble because of this type of history. So how to assess this? The patients who come with this type of history. So history taking becomes very important. The third one, probably in the last stages we get, because this is the phase where we get cases. Slightly the trend is changing. Okay, there are very, very senior homeopaths we have come across who have done a yeoman service in treating even this type of conditions, and that is where we stand. And this is the area where we have done, because these are the these are the patients who come to us when they fail in the other school. They come to us, and our seniors have done, and we also have tried to help the patients. Cure is practically an impossibility, and palliation is the only goal. But even with that palliation, the patient is given a better lifestyle, and also patient's party is also feeling good that something is being done more effectively, and that gives us a lead to say that okay, homeopathy can still do. So then reflect back, go back to the first and the second criteria where we identify the cases at the earliest. So for the doctors who are just beginning to start, they will be also getting this type of case, because many a time we do get this type of cases first, because when the medications have failed in other school, that whatever their strategic managements have failed, the patients come to us in the last stages to help them. So their defense mechanisms are so weak that typical curative reactions are impossible. In such cases, relapses occur very quietly and frequently. When they occur, the remedy image is almost certainly changes. So here what happens is, if the skin eruptions or discharges occur, they are unlikely to be accompanied by real amelioration, deeper level of the patients. We say that, suppose if the skin condition and the skin appears after condition, after the homeopathic medicine, then we find it's a good sign. These type of things will not be seen, because the condition has progressed to such an extent, we don't get anything. So what we would like to do is only a palliation, but still it is something very good in homeopathic practice. So the disease perception is like this. As the three layers, what we are trying to understand is, try to understand the disease in the background of the diathesis of the patient, disposition of the patient, and predisposition of the patient. This is what we see. This is what we understand with whatever the investigations are available, nosological classification. But we need to go behind this particular disease process through understanding of the diathesis, the disposition of the patient, both physical and mental, and then going back to the predisposition, the past history of the patient, and also the family history. Why important? I have already narrated those three categories where we are trying to understand the case and then progress with the case. So what is the role of homeopathy for cancer? It can improve the vitality and general well-being of the patient invariably. Invariably, I can say, even a case comes to us at a very terminal time, we have treated the patients who are in the terminal stage and tried to give them some sort of an improvement. It can improve the vitality and general well-being of the patient, even if they are on other medications that might have come to a standstill. By giving homeopathy, if you are going for a conjoined therapy, also if you are going for an alternative or complementary like way of treatment also, see, many a time we don't have an option, we don't have an opportunity to deal individually with the homeopathy medicines, because patients are already on certain medications which are dependent. Patients are already dependent. So under those conditions also, we can improve the vitality and general well-being of the patient. Homeopathy can help a great deal as pain-killing palliative measure, because what ultimately comes into the forefront is the pain. I am sure I've seen good number of patients as well as their attendants, their near and dear ones, who feel very, very upset or feel very much uncomfortable when this type of a phenomena is going on. That is the pain. So we call it as the modern world also, modern medicine also, the therapy where we think about palliative. It is the pain reducing. I think other than those what medications they try to give, we have got specific remedies, or also we have got conditions depending on the similarity, individualizing remedies. If you give it gives a better result. It can help stop spreading the disease process of metastasis and its likely complications to certain extent. Now, this is in the last 10-15 years, we are able to propagate this particular concept or idea, because the therapies, the markers which have come, today's cancer markers, the tumor markers, which are able to give us an idea about the level of the or the status of the condition. Also through the PET scan, the spreads what we are seeing, So the medications what we have given after those medicines, how we are able to, because the usual process of a particular malignancy, which has got a secondaries which are coming up in particular portion of the body, which patient cannot see or patient cannot feel, but a anticipatory, condition can be thought of, because this can be managed by homeopathy. Recently, case of the prostate condition, which came accidentally because patient was having the problem of urinary frequency, tested for through the scan. It was prostatic enlargement, but PSA was very high. The patient party wanted to continue homeopathy. At the same time, the family members, the today's world, once they come to know that they suspected malignancy, they would like to go for the best of the treatment. The oncology reference which they when they went, the patient was found to be, biopsy was found to be saying that it is a malignancy. But interesting thing happened was, and they parallelly took homeopathy. So I was giving homeopathic medicines depending on the symptoms. This patient also, I advised them to go for a PET scan. They were, because it's slightly costly. The other consultant also was wanting to go for it, and they found the lungs were having the secondaries, but mind you, he never had any symptoms. Even it was showing some amount of effusions, but he never had any symptoms of respiratory distress or problems. And considering that the objective symptoms when the medication is given is improved on this particular condition. This is what happens. We can prevent, we can also manage this condition better. It's hardly a case of 2 to 3 months, which I'll not be able to deal and give the further details. This is case ongoing process case which I was just mentioning about. So spreading the disease process and its complications to certain extent help other symptom and secondary effects such as ascites, infections, vomiting, etc. This is what we are doing. Many cases of gastric malignancies or pancreatic malignancies, where we have found the patients who are having the vomiting or say ascites or infections, we are able to give a comprehensive result. It can help alleviate certain side effects of modern medicines, radiation, etc. Which has been a source of help for the patients when they come to us after some of the the mechanical line of managements, even with the surgical or the radiations, we can do a better job. Homeopathy can give a better result. For one cannot expect a cure of cancer completely. As we know, it is once now today's genetic determinants which are giving us an idea that okay, what we call it as cure is something which brings back the patient up to normal, which is probably we use the word cannot expect a cure for cancer completely. Such cancer patients various stages and its complementary role is indicated. The strategic management of cancer is homeopathy by itself is effective in a selected number of cases. Suppose if we get a case in the the early phase, probably only homeopathy we can introduce, and then we can give them a good result. It is the trend is now coming up where the patients are opting. It is not because they are poor or because they are not able to afford the other school. It is the awareness, the thought process in the individuals and the societies also coming up now. Homeopathy can be a better option when the diagnosis is done. While other cases indicate both allopathic and homeopathic treatment, so this also is an option where we have to work both with allopathy and homeopathy. Latter case, homeopathy can also be a great deal to help the patient. The possibility to integrate treatment in an optimal way to benefit the patient must be worked out. Now, that is what we are now working out with the palliative care managements, the nursing care, and also the counseling. The most important aspect is nursing care as counseling in management of cancers or the neoplasms, which makes important contribution in the management of cases of malignancy. Now, the homeopathic remedies, not only remedies which are going to work, but their potencies and the proper evaluation of the remedy action. Now, this is the area where we require to be a little more, finer in our understanding about the philosophy and trying to know the homeopathy in a more deeper way. Uh, I'm sure, okay, as we progress in the ultra modern, the medical world with a lot of technological, findings, still, if we try to stick on to the basics and the homeopathic principles, definitely we would be able to do well. Because I have seen many a time we rush with the remedies which are organ based, they may be required, but at the same time, if you are able to get a certain remedy which is more minimum, even in the palliative level, and a correct potency, if you are able to understand through the susceptibility and sensitivity and the action. Many a time we repeat and we may change the remedies without trying to give enough time for the medicine to act. So this also is one of the areas where the strategy has to be worked out. Seek health to ward off the disease from the healthy and those who have a tendency to disease, and in case of disease where cure is no longer possible, palliate separate. So the one of the strategies also to be working out the plan we need to have is somebody, if the family is having the problem and the next generation. So identify them at the earliest. Today we have got a good number of options to identify, including the stress factor, the family situations, the work situation, or the social bindings, which may endanger this person's future, can be identified and can be guided properly. Suppose if it is no choice, if the patient is already in the terminal phase, then palliate the suffering and prolong the term of life in the most beautiful way. The long-term treatment, when we talk about the individual variation of patient to patient become complex. Now, this is where we homeopaths are special. That is why if somebody asks me, even today, if you ask me what remedy you want to prescribe or what remedies you give to cancer patients, as such, I will be perplexed and I will be, blank to answer what remedy, because it depends on the case. It depends on the case how it is moving and progressing, and how we understand that individual and we give the remedies. Good number of patients whom I feel I have done good. I'm only not able to understand, why this remedy is coming up. Because when we see the case, when we individualize the case, it may be phosphorus, or it may be natrum, it may be, silicea. So these remedies which come, in our mind because of the understanding of the patient. It is not because of the organ which is getting affected. Yes, we have seen some specific remedies which have done wonderful service in the management cases, but still individuality prevails to understand the patient and try to treat the patient. General principles apply to all cases at all times, although to varying degrees depending upon the severity of the case. In a patient with defense mechanism, the basic principles of evaluating the direction of cure are highlighted very clearly. As I told, the first criteria where the defense mechanisms are, all the homeopathic, basic concepts can be seen, where we find that the cure, the direction of cure, that is, from periphery, from central to periphery, above downwards, this type of things can be seen. To demonstrate these things, it may require more time, but certainly in the teaching institution, we need to guide the students in this particular manner, because it takes time, it requires a lot of documentation. Probably the time may not be in a, I may not be in a position to keep that, the one by one follow. So when the defense mechanism is very weak and tenuous, the whole principles are not clear enough. So we will not be able to see, as I told in the third, we discussed the third criteria, the even if it is a peripheral symptom coming up, we may not be able to appreciate it as heading towards a cure, because the system is badly affected. So the law of palliation is one of the areas where we are now, are now managing the cases of malignancy. When the patient is suffering and they're coming, all of us know the common things which occur are insomnia and the pain. Patient who develops a strong, the change in the basic, the lifestyle, that is the sleep-related problems. Sleep which gets affected either by pain or by thoughts, and they don't have. So these areas we require to handle the cases either by understanding through the constitutional remedies or with the specific remedies. I'm not saying specifics cannot be given, but specifics have to be given with the care and trying to palliate. Alteration of symptoms depending on season, sites, and organs. That also can be thought of. The third, thinking is the type of, the temperature or the meteorological changes, then the types of pathology on the sites, and again the organ related. Riemannian concept what he was trying to talk about in the post.
Just unmute from your side, sir.
Yes, yeah. There is some, yeah.
Just share again.
Yes.
It's a network issue.
Yeah. So some of the celebrated, authors who have found remedies which are found to be good. So as such, this is more of a literature which I am referring. This may be used by many of us already, and we can also get the results. We have got good results. At the same time, this is not the only way, but certainly Aconitum, Radix, what you find it, Morphia, Subulcerulata, Echinacea, these are all having their effect on the system. Like even in the gastric cancers, what you found, Robinia, nitric acid, Ornithogalum, Silicea. These drugs which have been, good number of drugs are there, but these are the main drugs which are found through the therapeutic line of management, where we can give it in the lower potencies or in the, if it is a plant kingdom, if it is given in the tincture form also can have a better result and good results in the pain relieving process. Reducing the adverse or the side effects of the chemotherapy, radiotherapy, as we found radium bromatum or X-ray, okay, sometimes caladium, the chemotherapies, vanadium. These are the drugs which have been found to be more useful when they are in the terminal stages. Even in our group, in this particular group also, the senior physicians might have identified newer drugs which have got a better result in the management as a palliative for the pain. The other drugs also, Lepis benefica, arsenical, calcarea. Now, those who are already in the homeopathic world, all of us are aware of these drugs, how much useful they are in our day-to-day practice. If it is a oral chondroma, how it works. The carcinosins given in infrequent doses and how they have done best in most of the cancers. Or say if it is related to hydrastase, related to ornithogalum, related to hydrangea, echinacea, conium, subulcerulata, how they have done service. Most of us who have clinical experience certainly would be able to get those things. For a new generation homeopaths who are coming out just from the medical institutions, probably they have to try out these remedies wherever they come across with through the totality of symptoms. Another area we have been observing is related to the bleeding component, how these remedies work. I think this is area where homeopathy, even at the in the OP basis, not only in the IPD, of course we can see the condition and treat, but in the OP basis when we are able to see, people are able to get a very good result with these remedies. What we have found in different conditions of bleeding. So these remedies can be used. So we talk about one side classical homeopathic management. At the same time, another level we are trying to look out, because people may have an idea how homeopathy can be used in our many times our students also ask, sir, are we having always that chance to get into all these criteria, posology criteria, and to arrive at the potency which is which can be used. Sometimes, depending on the type of pathology, of course, physiological doses also are probably are used, because see, ultimately, as I know, some of our seniors, my senior teachers have also told, when allopathy can't do anything, the other school cannot do anything. When you have got something in your system where you can give them in the physiological dose also, because if you see the if we go to the mathematics of Herring or Clark, the introductory portions, we come across the doses which are given by them, and they also quote from the author, our founder, that they are given at 3x, they are given at 2x, they are given at tincture form, and how they could control those episodes during the those days. Later on, we have come across with the finer potencies, the higher potencies, the 15 months, which are also advocated. But to some extent, this also can, not in all cases, also can be used for a physiological dose, also can be used for a palliative effect. So, symptom similarity, the end is always held in view as an ideal, is not thereby forbidden is palliative measures in cases where they are appropriate necessary. Now, what is meant by this particular statement is Kahneman has also told, suppose if you are treating a case, if at all there is a palliative line of management when the antibiotic or other remedies are required, we can also give them. These are unusual circumstances where it may be required to help the patient to overcome that particular. So we talk about the surgery if it is contraindicated or indicated. Suppose if chemo if it is given. Suppose if it's others, it's just like sometimes the sugar level is too high. In a diabetic patient, the sugar is too high. The difference is more than 12 or 13. Then we go with that particular thing, only with that particular, and we try to give homeopathy medicines. It may cost the some of the, sometimes it may cost the our end organs. Sometimes we have found the kidney has got a problem. Sometimes the infections, the suppurations which are coming up. So under those conditions, we do advocate insulin, and then we take over the case so that the crisis is managed, and then homeopathy can be given. Similarly, what Hahnemann has told about the line of management, the FSM number 67. So, the utility and necessity of resorting to palliation in certain emergencies is also can be thought of when we are treating the neoplasms. I am stressing on this point because if the non-homeopathic people are there, probably they may think that the orthodox homeopathy is we follow under conditions where it is not possible. Probably if that is available, that also can be thought of along with homeopathy medicines, or even if homeopathy allopathy medications was continuously given, and then if they switch out homeopathy also, those remedies cannot be withdrawn suddenly. They have to be withdrawn in a phased manner, and then slowly homeopathy can be thought of. Now, this has to be the order of the line of management. So coming to again a concept, what we need to make ourselves strong is regarding it is a mixed miasmatic state. Now, the learned homeopaths and people who are trying to understand homeopathy, this point has to be thought of, because without miasms there cannot be any presentation of neoplasm. We have seen robust, very strong people in the younger days, and also a few months before they succumb to a particular malignancy, the reason which is unknown. I'm sure in homeopathy, all of you will agree with me that there is nothing like unknown. It is the miasmatic load, which probably was ignored or probably not identified in the right time. If it is identified and considered, and if it is taken care, probably the condition would not have progressed. So, cancer is developed due to hereditary acquired, that is acquired how? From uncured and maltreated chronic diseases, resulting in suppression of disease manifestations and transformation of the same into miasmatic states. I am not saying this is the thing, because when we find in case of females, we have seen some conditions today. Today we find a good number of gynecological conditions are converting themselves into malignancies in case of females. The progress, probably the starting of it is in the teenagehood, which is ignored. We come across the young girls coming out with PCOD, 11, 12 years of age only it is now identified. I don't know how they will be going till 20, 30 and 40 if they are already on line of management which is more of suppressive, even if a hormonal therapy is continued for a long time. I don't know how to make this statement. A PCOD case which is given metformin or hypoglycemic or the diabetic treatment, and at the same time, if the the thyroid is there, a thyroid treatment is given, and what is the status of the the body system, the susceptibility sensitivity is totally tempered at the age of 11 and 12, and where they are heading, we don't know. It is probably it has to be understood, but the history, if we take in the olden days when we were starting our practice 35 years ago, the ovarian related conditions, the uterus related conditions were very less, but today they are coming into forefront, and a good number of ladies are coming out with the gynecology, that is ovarian or intrauterine tumors. Now, I think the explanation or the interpretation is certainly sure that the normal physiological, the rhythm of the female is altered. One of the areas I'm just sharing, it may be related to many other conditions also. The alterations which might have gone into the therapy. Say the organ which is finding its expression. Say if it may be fibroid, it may be or ovarian follicles which are coming out of excess. There is a hormonal secretion. Mind, the brain, the pituitary, then the ovarian, uterine, that particular axis. Somewhere, it has been tampered, and then they come out with the malignancies or conditions which are, very, very serious. So that is what we find an observation, that there is a suppression, there is some sort of no channelization for the disease to find its expression. So the miasmatic load continues, and the dyscrasia will be there. Probably that is one of the areas. And if that is true in a female, certainly the next generation will have. If we say that it is a linear, descendant, then it can be a problem. So in cancer, rapid proliferation takes place in abnormal way without following the normal sequence, even that hysterectomy is. So that is understood. It's a hyperproliferation and condition where it is uncontrolled. So this is this is an idea which the other school also believes, but as it is related to miasma. The product of psychosis syphilis because of the growth as well as the destruction, antipsychotic, antisyphilitic, and mixed drugs are necessary as and when necessary. So why I'm stressing on this point for the consultant is that, we try to give remedies related to organ and or similar remedy expected or thought of it as a similar remedy. After that, we don't follow it up with many a time the intercurrents. Now, it is a must. It is a must, an intercurrent in the treatment of the cancers. The phase of the condition has to be given the anti-asthmatic remedy so that the risk has to be taken, because many a time the question arises for us is that in the acute phase or a condition is that should we give anti-miasmatic remedy. Probably the remedies like carcinosin or tibernobovinum may be of great help in these conditions to make way for the remedies which are following later on. So the miasm has to be considered when we treat the malignancies. Otherwise, there can be. Why it is next I'll show this particular aspect. When you go for a preventive, uh, I have come across patients who parents had problems, and when they were treated later on, I have asked them to go for some related tumor markers and then treated them with the anti-miasmatic oil. Because treatment at that phase, when only the blood parameters were showing some changes, they didn't have any localizations or they didn't have any symptoms. The dyscrasia which was there, so it was considered and could do good. Some patients, say, in a case of one case of hepatocellular carcinoma, which I was treating, and the patient became all right, and he survived for more than 3 years, and he passed away like a normal death because elderly patient. Later on, after maybe 3 or 4 years, I could find a lady in my clinic, and that she had come out with the CA125 marker high in her case, and then she said she is the daughter of so and she has seen me treating because we are close, but knowing the condition and helping, and she had come and after the treatment with the homeopathy, because she has not gone to other school at all, because she was having the bleeding problems, and when she had cystic related problems, so changes, and then they did this. They only did this particular marker. It was found to be higher, and then we treated, and she's because CA125 marker has come to normal. Now this is what we are trying to work on conditions. So cancerous patients or families should be treated by anti-miasmatic medicines to prevent future possibility of cancer. So any one of these things can be thought of. This is for the younger group I'm talking about, which need to be thought of, because many a time we don't think of these things. We need to be focused on the background, that is the miasmatic. So precancerous states can be treated. Leukoplakia of the tongue or cheek and other precancerous states require early diagnosis and treatment to avoid future damage. Again, the remedies can be thought of. We have got abundant literature. We have got so many remedies in our Medica, which can be easily identified by the consultants, and then we thought of trying to avoid the further progress. And now we need to use these informations in our management of cases. The tumor markers, the purpose is to decide which type of treatment or combination of treatments will work best for certain type of cancer, because we get lot of reports, lot of information nowadays with their line of management. Every homeopathic doctor need to have an idea. Even the common man knows about all these conditions, that they are having something high, but we need to make ourselves also clear that the levels, how they differentiate. When we talk about the prostate cancer, the age group related, and then the levels of prostate, the PSA, which is showing a difference and how it can be managed. So I'm just giving an example of it. So we need to know. So what will be the purpose of tumor markers? Sometimes when we ask them, and when we as homeopaths don't follow it up, actually we need to follow it up with the markers, figure out how well a treatment is working. Even if we are giving a treatment, if there is a conjoint, remedy which is working on, conjoint malady, considering and treating them with our homeopathic medicines, a parallel therapy is going on. Still, we can do, because with whatever they were giving, what was the result, and after we give, what is the thing happening. These also can be understood through this. Person's chance of recovery also can be thought of. Predict how likely it is a cancer will come back after treatment and find if it does. We are treating a case of breast cancer. She was in our OPD, and 3-4 years she didn't have any symptoms. She was coming for some other complaints, and she was perfectly all right. But they were asked to go for a routine test, and unfortunately she had marker again increasing, but she didn't have any symptoms. Again, we had resorted to the antibiotic, and we are treating her, and they told you have to undergo now chemotherapy and this, but she has not gone. It's a case which is ongoing case which I am having. So what I'm saying is that once we finish the therapy, maybe a few years ago, doesn't mean that we have to stop. We have to be keeping them under vehicle surveillance. We have to have a constant check with them, and then they also should report to us. So these are some of the tests which we come across in our practice. So this can be used alpha-fetoprotein, liver-related cancer antigen for the ovaries, antigen for the breast tumors, 199 pancreatic, because these are all commonly now coming up: pancreatic, liver, ovary, the colon rectum, and gestational trophoblastic, and prostate. Common. There are so many other conditions where we are having good number of CA markers, but these we come across, and I'm sure all my senior consultants would agree with me. The liver related problems which the other school find it very difficult, and even pancreatic, they are able to give a very good management and results under these conditions. Prostate, surely homeopathy is doing very good, because combination of Panayam or Sabal, which has been celebrated, but we have seen cases where there is a good number of cases of constitutional therapy also. That can be just giving only for the studies. I've gone to the studies where it is said, the Panayam and Sabal Sarvat are doing very good for the malignancy of the prostate. So post-operative follow-up case also, it is once the surgical corrections are done, then again the treatment should be focused with the anti-miasmatic medicines. Never allow a patient to say that, okay, it is over surgery, so we can be relieved of. It will never go. So we need to focus on our line of management and thought process, and work on the patient so that they will be, taken care from distance metastasis by eradicating the miasmatic dyscrasia. This is our one structure which we have considered in methods. We call it as which is nosological classification. When we come across, we need to know the events, the process on which we consider the whole history of events, how it has been observed in his life. Consider the predisposition, that is related to the family history, personal past history, psychological factors, and then the physical conditions, and then the family, work, under society. That I was just talking about in the initial. So ultimately, when we look at a case, it looks like this. All the factors, all the conditions to be considered when we treat a case. Is what we try to follow in our institution, so that students will get a comprehensive the totality of a case in different areas where they can identify, and then can go ahead with the management of in every condition. Say for example, events line, what we find from left after border to right comes down from the number of years of their existence. If at all any history taking this to if it is good, we'll be able to see changes in their pattern. We say from the left lower end to the top with the miasmatic line, where you find the patients finding expressions at SORA psychosis, tubercular or syphilitic level. So this is the way we try to give an idea to the student or a learner to hook on to areas where they should get the data and try to understand and make a totality of it so that they can deliver good to the patients. It is, of course, is a general structure. It can also be used in malignancies because considering those areas, it can be helped. Patients can be helped with this particular pattern. So this for the learners to look into this checklist like, okay. So this is from my side general. I'm not getting into any cases. You want about the cases, but the cases will give us only the remedies. But remedies, anything in homeopathy, if the concept, if it is very clearly understood, and any remedy can be used. So homeopathy has been of great use. So the new in the general public, if they are on this particular thing, the case pattern which we go, maybe sometimes when we talk about the life space history areas, you may find it difficult. But definitely homeopathic consultants are very sure that when they are considering the life space investigation, trying to know the mind pattern and then arriving at drugs, definitely will give us a very good result in our practice. This is what I want to convey. If any questions we can handle. Otherwise, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity and also a patient listening.